Guys, welcome back to Choose Your Own Path. Today we're going to work on another fishing lure. That's going to be pretty much the end of the season for me because it gets too cold in here. We can't do much. So here's one. It's a real cheap one. I paid $1 something for it, and even the guy himself says it doesn't work very well. They don't do much. I noticed that. Look, okay, so first of all, I took the eyes off it for the last one, and then I cut this one in half. I wanted to see how it was hooked up, and you know what? It's just these cheap little eye rings. You can see that eye rings that they have for in here, and I'm not going to be using that. The lip was very basic. Didn't even have anything attached to it. It was just epoxy, and they were very hollow because these are just made out of like a plastic mold. And then each one of them has like a little pellet. So what I did was I made my own, pretty close to that, similar to that one. I cut one out. And then what I'm going to do is I split it open, and I'm going to start digging this out and the other side out. And then what I want to do is add some more pellets in there. That's going to be the weight to it. Put the lip on it, put some eyes on it, get some eye hooks for it. I'm going to show you, if I can get smaller ones that I know I can, I'm going to be using these guys as eyelets. I think these are like 1/4 inch or something. Might be a bit too big. Maybe not. These, add weight to it. Put one there, and then one at the bottom for the hook, and then that's it. So it'll look like that once I cut it in there. And again, they're just epoxied in. Epoxy holds very well. Like, we know that. It's very durable. Even the 5-minute epoxy stuff works well. So that's what I started off, was just taking a shape, cutting it in half on the bandsaw. I'm going to take out my tools, and I'm going to cut these suckers out and then see how deep. Not too thin, because I want to keep them solid enough. But then we'll put the bearings in, and that'll act like a rattler. You see how I did that? A rattler. And also it'll act as weight. And then with the lip, that'll deter on how deep it goes. The bigger the lip, the deeper it dives. The angle of the lip, there's a fly in here. The angle of the lip makes a difference too. If it's a steep angle, it'll dive deeper. The only thing is we still haven't tested if it'll float. That guy's drying, and with the epoxy on it, it'll take a bit, because like I said, it has to be warmer in here. It will be. It'll get nice in here. Anyway, we'll work on that, and we'll be back at the table. Yes, we are. So here we go. So the other day I told you guys that we're cutting out a piece and then cut it in half and then hollow it out. Well, I decided to do it a different way, so I kept it square first. Cut it in half, did the pattern, and then dug the hole out. You can see I just dug a little hole. Now, when I took, this is one of the cheap ones that I got. There was, looked like 3 ball bearings and 3 little pellets in it, little beads. Now, obviously, it's for weight and for the sound. So what we're going to do is we're going to mimic that same thing. I got some BB pellets. These are the for your BB gun. I'm going to put 2 or 3 of them in this one. Same thing. This will add as weight. Maybe, I don't know. We're just learning this, so we don't know if that's enough of weight to it. But, back and forth, you can hear it. So I think we're going to try that. Maybe I'll put a 4th one in here just for noise. I don't know. Or maybe, you know what? Let's switch up. Let's give it 2 BBs and a round, 2 rounds and a BB, and 2 extra ones for the hell of it. I don't know. Might be too heavy, might be too light. I'm not sure. Don't care. We're going to figure it out. Oh, hey, I wanted to show you today's video. Will it float? It's dry. It's epoxied. It's pretty solid. It's got some weight to it. I don't know. Is there a difference? I guess size-wise, right? I can get a scale. That's what I can do. Who cares? We'll do that later. On towards what we want to do. Now, we're still going to use these things as eyelets. We're going to cut them down after. They will be inserted somewhere, probably at the bottom for a hook and the back for a hook. But first, we need to glue these guys together. So we're going to stop this video as a part 1, gluing it together, and see what happens. So 5-minute epoxy, clean stir stick, which really doesn't matter, and clamps. 1 clamp will do because these are small. These are small items. 1 clamp. Ooh. 2 clamps. 1 for each. We're gonna clamp it in. I'm gonna glue these together. It takes about 5 minutes to epoxy. I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit longer, and then the next step is, what I'm hoping is, when these things are solid, what I'm trying to do is get these solid, so then we can start carving the shape, putting the lip in, painting and all that, and then we'll seal it later. Because not like this guy. I fucked up with this guy. I sealed them first with a crazy glue. I actually put some epoxy on it. Then I tried to burn in the scales. What a mess, what a smell. God darn, don't do that shit. Anyway, let me glue this up, show you what it looks like, and we'll call this part. Next, we're just going to cut out the profiles. So I started on 1. Just going to the bandsaw, make sure it's clean, safe debris. I bring it down as much as I can, make sure everything's all nice and tight, and so it's not flopping around. I can still hear it. I did this one earlier, so now we're going to sand it, which is what you're sitting on. So I'm just going to turn it around, like so, and we're just going to use, now I would preferably change this out to, you know what, let's just do it anyway. Let me just change this up right back. All right, so we got the 1-inch sander on here, 80 grit. Turn it on. See how easy that takes off the amount we need. I'm going to put it at an angle. First I'm going to start off with the sides. Just working it around. Trying to get like a more of a rounder profile. So you can see that I'm at an angle when I'm doing this. The nice thing about this is it doesn't kick me back unless I touch an end I'm not supposed to touch, and of course it's going to kick back. You got to be very careful. Sanders are still dangerous. So I'll make sure. Now I got a little bit of a rotten spot there. Just going to work it out slowly. Still here. Alright. So this is, I think, a good shape. Now, what I'll do is I'll hand sand it, and maybe even take my knife to it and just carve it up a bit. So let me do this. I'll be back. Okay, guys. So we ended up making 2 more. This one has a lot of rattle. This one has a little rattle. Not very much. I don't know why. I think it's because I didn't haul this one out very well. It's fine. I ended up putting those little eye hooks in there. Now, the difference between these ones and that one is the size. I don't know if that's going to make a difference. It might have a little bit more weight. This does feel a little bit heavier. I don't know how much. I'd have to take my scale out, and I don't know where the hell I put that. So I ended up putting some primer on it. And what we're going to do is we are going to try to do some sort of crazy fish pattern on it. We're going to see what we have, what looks good. That's going to be our part 2 to this video. I said that was a little bit earlier, but excuse me. We are going to paint our lure. I ended up, I wanted to show you. I know I should have done this on camera, but I had a little bit of issues last night about something, so. This one here has the normal, this is the lip that, I took off of one of these guys, and I put it on here, and I just stuck it in there, epoxied it. We drilled a hole, epoxied. I'm going to try to be more visual with this stuff next one. This one is, I don't have one here. Hold on. So these are, they're not eye hooks. I said eye hooks. There's some sort of pin that you usually put into something, and you spread these apart. I have no idea what these are used for, but anyway, what I did was I I have some acrylic plastic or a sheet. So here we go. A sheet that my boy bought. He said I could have. Now, the difference in thickness is pretty close. Like, I mean, we're talking the thickness of this. I don't have my caliper with me, so I couldn't tell you. You know, the measuring tape's not gold. Maybe this is like 16 millimeters or less or whatever. But there is quite a bit of a thickness from that bottom edge that goes on here, and you can see this is a lot thicker. The thing is you could sand this stuff down after you cut it. So what I did was, you could see the pattern back here. Oh, it's pretty dusty. You can see the pattern. I did sort of like a loop pattern, okay, and took it to the bandsaw, cut it out. I kept a lip on it, like some sort of extension, and I cut it out, and then I drilled a hole into the mouth, and on the sides I cut 2 little sides like that, like the mustache, so that it can be inserted in there. 5-minute epoxy on it. I mean, I'd really have to crank on that to pull it off. It's pretty good. So then I took a drill bit and I drilled. I didn't go center. I went a little bit more to the head, which I probably should have went centered, but that's okay. You know, again, we're just learning to do this. We're making them for fun right now. This is a fun thing, and I'm having fun. But I mean, I look at this guy and he's closer to the nose than he is to the edge or the middle. So I thought that was more compatible to it. And then I rounded it off and I drilled a hole in it. And then I took, where the hell is it? Then I took whatever this thing is, I put it in to the point where I wanted the height. And then I bent it this way. So now it's like this, and I bent it this way. And then so it's flatty as here, but it's going up, and I inserted it in there, and then I epoxied it all together. Now this thing is solid, it's on there. So when you put your leader or whatever, your line on here, it'll still pull and float. I don't know if this thing needs to be scratched up or polished. I don't really see the difference. This one's kind of see-through. The big deal about fish is sight and movement. That's what I've learned. They don't know the difference between what kind of freaking bait you're making or what they're going after. They just want, fish are aggressive when they're hungry. They see, take it as like sharks. Sharks, if something's, you know, in the water and it's being, say it was maimed or something like that, or it was hurt, it'll attack it before it attacks the other ones because it's an easier prey. They see that little shine, the way it moves, whatever. It's good. It works like that. I mean, hold on a sec. That's what we're going for. This is my train of thought of how I would attack. I'm a predator. I would attack something that's weaker than me so that I could win. I can get it. So I'm thinking fish would be the same thing. I think animals are all like that, right? Let's, you know, give me your opinion on that. I'm telling you, this is what I think. If I'm wrong, well, then educate me, because that's the way I am. Anyway, so we have the hooks ready. Again, right now, all I'm doing is I'm using cheap. These were like $1. Like I said, these are from the Pro Bass store. They're Tierney Specials, they call them. Maybe people like them. Maybe they use them. The guy the guy who helped me at the store said to me, he says, people complain they don't work very well. I don't know. I'm not a fisherman. I'm not going to say these are good, these are bad. I think they look good. They're really well done. But he seems to say that they don't sell. So, I mean, they had a bin. Next time I go to these stores, I'm gonna do a little video on it. There was tons of them in there. So big, long, small, short, whatever. Not that, excuse me, not that I'm making anything better. I can't, because I'm not a store. This is not massive production. I just want to make something for me. Now, you asking me, why the hell is he doing this? You can go and buy this for $1.92. I'm sure you'll catch fish. Here's the thing. There's guys out there, and my brother, I'm going to give it that. My oldest brother and my second oldest brother, they're very avid fishermen. He came over the other day, and I wish I would have showed you guys this, but he had tackle box, and he had lures in there that were worth like $30, $40, $100. Like, don't know why people buy these things. He didn't. He got it given to him because of whatever. Somebody gave it to him because of problems. His buddy can't fish anymore. And he said to me, he goes, I love these things, but I don't want to lose them. And it's not hard to lose them. I mean, if you can't retrieve something that's lost, it's gone. So my part of this is mostly for me. And if we do get good at this, it may be a small little business that my son and I will start making plastics and stuff like that. If we get enough interest in it, we are going to undercut. You know what? You're paying $20 for a lure. If you like what I have, would you pay maybe $10 for it? Maybe. So on and so forth. You know, you order more, you get a better deal. I think that would be, I'm not saying that's happening. Don't quote me on that. But that may be something, because winter months are coming. I'm not going to be in here anymore. I'll be in the house doing stuff. So I need to figure out what I'm doing. So we will be looking at plastics, molds. It's a big expense. Let me tell you, it's something that you just don't, you know, it's not a $20 startup kit. Let's do it. We will be looking for the best, you know, deals that we can get to start off, because maybe we might not like this, and I don't want to get into something that I'm spending like $500 on. So it's always good. So as I'm saying this, any help with the channel, you know, where it becomes, I don't have Patreon and I don't have everything. It's just, you know, I have that link always in there saying if you want to help out the channel. It helps us do this kind of stuff, create it, purchase stuff, show you, and then give back to the community if people want things, like, I mean, at a better price. So again, if you guys want to help the channel, I'll leave a link under here for my PayPal. I'm not begging you for anything. I'm just saying, if you want to help, that's always the thing. I help everybody I can. I am that kind of a person. I love to, you know, give away and stuff like that, and I pay for all this stuff, so it comes out of my pocket. Anyway, long story short, it'll be there. Next video, part 2, we will be figuring out colors, paints. It's going to come to a point where I'm going to be bringing everything inside, setting up my airbrush center down there. Did I say center? Airbrush box and everything. So I'll have that all set up, and I think I'll be doing, so I'm going to try to be making a lot of different blanks, so that I can just have them all done here, and then come wintertime, that will be how I'll be making my videos, is more of the painting process. Easy to go back and check out the videos of how I made these things if you want to try. I found my pellets, my pellet guns. I mean, I can't shoot out here anyway. We had them for the cabin. Got a lot of these guys going on. I mean, lots. So this is what we're going to use for weights. A lot of people, because we're beginning, we're going to be using those things as a cheaper kind of version. If things get better and I start making, you know, something out of this, then we are going to, you know, invest in a lead pot, which is just like a little pot. You put lead in, it heats up to a certain point. You drill a hole in there, and you can just pour it in. It makes a lot more, I mean, you see all the videos of people doing it. I'd like to try that, but we're going to do things on a budget. And we're going to start off with what we have. All the wood is free. I got lots of it. Different kind of makes. We're going to try some videos on, you know, we're going to make pretty ones like this, and then we're going to get into things that are different, like scary looking fish lures, like something evil looking or something, just to say if it will work. Jigs, because wintertime's coming. I want my brothers to have my lures, so when they go fishing, I want to see if they work. Plastics and all that. That's it. Thanks for watching. Lots of rambling going on here, because you know who I am. I'm just a crazy Frenchman that likes to talk to nobody. Well, to you, but the camera's there. If I could do it, you can do it. Choose your own path, guys. See you on the next one.